I absolutely detest waiting, queues, traffic jams, Amazon packages stuck on one more stop, food that takes longer than 15 minutes to cook. I am not gifted in the spiritual discipline of waiting. I don't enjoy it. I don't naturally embrace it. Waiting and I have never been friends. And yet, recently, God placed me in a season where waiting just wasn't optional. It was unavoidable. I'm Neil O'Boyle, and this is Waypoint, learning the way and living with purpose. Today, we're stepping into a place most of us avoid at all costs, and that is the waiting room. So here's the truth. I found myself in a waiting room I never asked for and never wanted. At the same time, I handed in my notice as the CEO of British Youth for Christ, recognizing that carrying the emotional and the spiritual weight of leading a national charity had begun to trigger and exacerbate my epilepsy. My neurologist signed me off sick. Just like that, everything stopped. Meetings stopped, deadlines stopped, traveling stopped, urgency stopped, but the questions didn't stop. Suddenly, I had time, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what God wanted me to do next. I didn't know what the future looked like. It wasn't that I thought God had finished with me. Not at all. In fact, I clearly sensed God's presence in the decision to step down. I knew He was in the move. I knew He had new plans. I just didn't know what those plans were. And for the first 3 months, honestly, truth, I was restless, frustrated, bored, anxious, wondering why God wasn't making this simple. God, I've stepped out. Now you need to step in. Why is this taking so long? And yet, in that waiting, I sensed God gently whisper His nearness, His presence. But I wanted more. I wanted clarity. I wanted direction. I wanted to know how I would pay the bills. Then came the breakthrough, and it didn't come through activity. It came through surrender. I prayed, honestly, God, I can't make this happen. I can't force you to speak. I can't control this outcome. And then something shifted. I relaxed. I began to rest. I began to connect with Him. Not out of panic, but out of peace. Now, it wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't linear. It was more like a roller coaster. I'd relax, hear something from God, feel peace, then restlessness would hit again. Frustration, wanting to accelerate the process again, wanting the answers now. Then I'd breathe, slow down, trust again, rest again. And slowly, the relaxing increased and the wrestling, it decreased. Not perfectly, not fully, but noticeably. Now I know what I'm going to do next, and I'm excited and energized. I'm grateful, but I'm not finished waiting. I still got another 2 or 3 months of stillness, and every day I feel that tension, the desire to run, and the whisper of God. Wait patiently for the Lord, be brave and courageous, from Psalm 27:14, just keeps speaking to me, and I cannot escape it, even though all I want to do is rush ahead. So here's the thing. Waiting isn't just a Christian experience, is it? It's really a human one. And everyone waits. The whole world is in a waiting room in one way or another. This week I saw a story that captured this perfectly. A startup founder was being celebrated for having a massive breakthrough overnight. You've seen the headline, startup explodes in growth over the weekend, and everyone loves the success stories. But buried inside the interview was a single sentence. It often takes years for that overnight success to become a possibility. Years of building, years of refining, years of failing, years of waiting with no applause, no spotlight, no guarantee. The weekend breakthrough, sure, it was just part of everyone could finally see. Isn't that what waiting feels like, though? The invisible progress, internal stretching, quiet formation. Breakthroughs rarely happen fast, but they're almost always built in the dark. And if that's true in business, it's certainly true in faith. Now, here's something fascinating. Waiting isn't just spiritually difficult, it's biologically difficult. Your brain interprets waiting as a threat. When you resist waiting, 1, anxiety increases, your amygdala, your fight-flight center, it activates. 2, stress chemicals rise, cortisol floods your bloodstream. 3, your heart rate increases, your body prepares for danger that isn't actually there. 4, frustration. It intensifies. Your brain hates uncertainty and wants a solution now. This is why waiting feels like panic. It's why silence feels like danger. It's why delay feels like denial. But this is the key. When waiting turns into trusting and trusting turns into resting, your body shifts. When we surrender waiting, cortisol, it drops, breathing deepens, the heart steadies, muscles relax, the nervous system completely calms, the mind becomes clearer. Waiting plus surrender equals rest. Waiting plus control equals stress. This is why Psalm 27:14 says, wait patiently, be brave, be courageous, because waiting is not passive, it's psychological transformation. Now, waiting takes strength because it exposes our deepest fears. Unanswered prayer, fear God hasn't heard us, right? Delay, fear the answer is no. Silence, fear we've been forgotten. Hiddenness, fear God's doing nothing. Uncertainty, fear of choosing the wrong thing. Waiting drags all of this into the light. Biblically, waiting, the Bible word is quava, literally means to stretch, to be pulled tight, to grow under tension. Waiting is spiritual resistance training. Now, Psalm 27 doesn't just say wait, it says be brave and courageous. Why does it say that? Because waiting demands courage to trust what you cannot see, believe God hasn't forgotten you, stay when everything screams move, rest when everything screams fix, follow even when the fog hasn't lifted, live today without needing tomorrow's guarantee. Waiting is courage. Courage is faith with muscle. Now, scripture is filled with waiting. You've got Joseph, who waits 13 years. His waiting shaped him into someone who could hold power without it corrupting him. Hannah, years of unanswered prayer. Waiting didn't break her, it birthed Samuel. Now, David is hunted and hiding. Psalm 27 was written from a place of fear and uncertainty. It was written in a cave. The disciples, 3 days of silence, the darkest waiting room in history. Simeon and Anna, decades of waiting, but God kept his promise. God often does his loudest work in the quietest of seasons. So waiting is not wasted time. Waiting is formation. It builds humility, dependence, discernment, obedience, identity, perseverance, strength, vision, spiritual maturity. Waiting doesn't weaken you. Waiting prepares you, but it's hard. So how do we wait? How do we do it bravely? Well, firstly, honest prayer. Tell God everything. He can handle it. This sucks, God. 2, small obedience. Waiting isn't inactive, it's faithful activity. 3, remember past faithfulness. He carried you before, he'll carry you again. 4, don't compare your waiting to someone else's breakthrough. Comparison is a thief. 5, anchor yourself in scripture, especially the Psalms. They give language to long waits. 6, don't wait alone. Community holds you when waiting feels unbearable. And maybe today, God isn't asking you to run or fix or force. Maybe he's inviting you into the one place your soul has avoided, the waiting room. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. Waiting isn't weakness. Waiting is warfare. Waiting is transformation. Waiting is trusting the one who sees what you cannot. I'm Neil O'Boyle, and you've been listening to Waypoint, learning the way and living with purpose. Next time, we'll explore a theme we all wrestle with. But until then, may you find strength in the waiting, courage in the silence, and peace in the surrender. May God bless you.